Once, okay, we're live. Awesome. So, hi guys, welcome back to the lecture for building your own blockchain. In part two, what we're going to do is, so in part one, we saw how to set up the basic node, and then we saw a few of the parameters. Now, what we're going to do today is we are going to set up a new blockchain, first the seed node, then a secondary node, which is then going to connect to the seed node, and then we'll create addresses, create assets, and do some transactions. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Give me a second. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen. I hope you guys are able to see that. Are you guys able to see a blue terminal window and a green terminal window? No? Okay. Just give me a second, I'll try again. Okay, now you should be able to see that. A blue terminal window. Awesome. And a text file. Okay, there'll be lots of stuff on your screen. Don't get worried. So the blue is a virtual machine that we have created, and we are going to log into that virtual machine and create the seed node. Then we are going to go to the green one, which is going to be the secondary node. We are going to set up multi-chain there. Then we are going to connect the two, and then we'll run a bunch of commands. So first step, of course, you can see that I've put the passwords here because this is just a temporary server. So let's first log in, right? So seed node here. So we do SSH root at IP address, enter. Yes. I hope you guys are able to clearly follow. And then we enter the password. Okay, and we've logged in. Now let's set up the multi-chain. So we've already done the first part. Now we go to the temp directory. All these instructions now onwards are from the multi-chain website. So anybody could get them. We just keep following them one by one. I've already explained them previous session, so I wouldn't repeat it. Okay. Now, just give me a few more seconds and we'll be done. Okay, now here we are going to create the blockchain, and I've called the blockchain ROHAS. So now we can run the, Shinam, do you want me to run the params.dat now? Okay, so let's run this. This is an interesting one, which I don't think I showed you last time. So what it is showing us is the parameters file, which is totally blank, right? So, okay, so sorry. Just give me a second. Okay, let me show you that later. Let me first just set up the blockchain, right? And now when we do this, the blockchain has been set up, and it tells us something very important, that other nodes can connect to this node using this particular line. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. So as per the original documentation which is given to us, we are now going to make a slight change when it comes to setting up the secondary node, that we know the name of our blockchain is ROHAS, and we know this is the IP address, and we know this is the port number given to us. Now we are going to do the second round on this green one. So the green one is again another VM on which we are going to set up the same blockchain, or rather we are going to do the initial parts and then we are going to connect. So if you look at the set of instructions, right? So the first few lines are going to be identical. This is where the change happens. So whereas here we are saying multi-chain, create a new blockchain called ROHAS, we are not going to do that here. What we are going to do instead is we are going to connect to this ROHAS blockchain, which is running on this IP address through this port number. So before that, the commands are identical, but where it changes is in the seed node, we created a new blockchain. In the secondary node, we are not going to create a new blockchain. Is that part clear? Could you just quickly give me a yes? Do we have to again create the blockchain? Yeah, so Abhishek, because that was a trial, I had deleted those servers, so we've just set up a new one. Okay, so now let's start running the second set of commands. Now for that, we have a different server. Shinam, I hope you are following through. If there's any mistake, immediately you can point it out. Okay. So here, SSH, root, and now we've put the IP. So we say yes. Now we need to enter the password, which is here. Okay. And now let's start following some of the commands. So first step is the same. We enter the 10. Next step, we again download this multi-chain software. Then we are unzipping. Change directory. Okay. And now here we are running this slightly different command where we are going to now connect to that blockchain. So now if you notice here, okay, in fact, we could start with this. So it says retrieving blockchain parameters from the seed node. So that means we managed to successfully connect to the seed node because we have the correct IP and port. The blockchain has been initialized, and now it says, please ask the blockchain admin to give you permissions. So now in this scenario, what would happen is this particular line that you see here, or this particular line, these are just with more permissions. So you can see here there is a permission called connect, and here it is called connect, send, receive. So the person trying to connect to the main blockchain has to copy this line and send it to us. Now this could be sent by email or anything. Here I would then log into my node, the seed node, paste that command, and I can decide what are the permissions I want to give. I can change them here. But for now, let's just keep it standard. And I say, now the moment this command is run, we can see that a transaction ID has been generated. Now, one thing I need you to understand, everything that happens on a blockchain will generate a transaction ID. Creating things, assets, moving them around, everything that we do generates a transaction ID. Now, because we have granted permissions to this particular address, and we have given it connect, send, receive permission, that action that we have done has generated this transaction ID. And forever and ever, that's available as something which we can use in our audit, and we will come to know everything that has happened on this particular blockchain using transaction IDs. Any questions so far? Let me see some of them. Green and blue terminal. Okay, so both of these are running on DigitalOcean. They are two separate ones. The only reason I've kept it green and blue is so that we don't get confused. I've just said this, the blue is where the seed node is, the green is where the secondary node is. Difference between these two terminals. So like I said, it's just two different virtual machines running on DigitalOcean. Everything else is identical. So all this is clear. Now what we are going to do is we've given permission. So that part is done. Now what you've also got to remember is this thing that you see here is an address. And on a blockchain, an address can be given to a node or an entity. So when you create a node, the blockchain gives that node an address. So every node will have an address, including the seed node. Every individual that we want to give credentials to and all, again, we can generate new addresses for them. And I'm going to show that to you very soon. And addresses all look the same. So you can't, I mean, their format is the same. So you can't make out by looking at an address, whether it's been granted to a node or an entity. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to create a custodial address. A custodial address is similar to what happens in a centralized exchange. We are going to create a new address, but the private key is going to be added to the node, right? So we will run something called get address. Before that, let me just run multi-chain -CLI. Okay. Sorry, just one sec. Yeah. So now we run the first command, which is get new address. Now, okay, I'm not sure what's gone wrong. Shinam, could you figure out what's gone wrong? Give me a second. Yeah. So, Chinam, could you log into the green server and figure out what the problem is? I'll continue showing on the blue one. Yeah. So now let's look at the blue one. So what I did is I said get new address. And the moment I did that, it generated an address, which I can see here. Now, what I want you to remember here is this address, the private key of it is by default now stored on this server. It is not displayed, not given to the user. That is why we call it a custodial address, where the private key is lying on the server. Now I have to authenticate this user in future, say using username, password, OTP, whatever. And then whenever that user logs in and does anything, I will run the transaction for that user because the private key is lying on the server. If on the other hand, sorry, just give me 1 second. Let me show you the second one. Suppose I want to create a non-custodial address. I will use a different command which is called create key pairs. Now when I do that, you will notice the difference here. It has shown me the address, the public key and the private key. Now please remember, this private key will never be displayed to us again. So when we are creating our application, so let's say we are building a mobile wallet, and in this mobile app the user is logged in, so we know who the user is. Now the user comes and clicks a button. We can actually store this private key in some secure storage on the mobile device, or then we can allow the user to download. It is up to us. It depends on how we make the application. The address, no problem, nothing confidential. Public key, nothing confidential. This private key, that we will need to secure. So that would depend upon how our particular application has been developed. So as you learn more and we go deeper into applications, you'll understand what to do with it. As of right now, you need to understand there are two ways to generate a new user: custodial and non-custodial. And in non-custodial, we can see the private key. Any questions? Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay. Now that this part is clear, let's try to create an asset. Okay. Now this is a long command that we're going to run. But before that, let me explain how that command is, what it looks like. When we need to create an asset, the command we use is issue from. That means, after all, when you create an asset, who is the entity creating it? That becomes the what we will put here. Instead of this AAAA, we will write that address. Now that has to be somebody who has the permissions to create a new asset. Then once that new asset is created, who should it be given to? So I can create it and give it to you, or I can create it and give it to myself. In that case, I would write the same address here. Then I need to give it a name. So in this example, I've given it the name WUSD, which means wrapped USD. So I've taken an example that we are using a stable coin backed by the US dollar. Then comes another very important thing, whether the open is true or not. Any idea what that means? Someone like to guess what it means? What does this open colon true mean? And what do you think would happen if we do a false? Yeah, Shinam, thanks. What was the problem with the green node? Yeah, it's working now. So here we can see we did a get new address and we created a new custodial address here also. Now, if we keep this as true, what it means is that the asset that we are creating, more units of it can be generated in the future. If we say false, then whatever units we create right now, that's the only limit. We cannot create anything after that. Then we can enter the number of tokens that we want to create, minimum divisible by 100, we can do that. So $1 is 100 cents. Then we can put the name, who's the issuer, what is the type, what is the category, what is the proof of reserve, we can put a URL. None of this really makes any difference to the blockchain. This is just data that we can keep filling up. Now, before we run the actual command, we are going to have to put those addresses. So let me show to you how we are going to do that. So, 1 second. So here we can see that we need to first give the address. So let's go and see what is the address of this first person here. Shiro, where can I see the address of this particular node? I'm confused. It needed to be restarted. Okay, sure. So what address we can grant permissions? Shino, are you around? Are you able to hear me? And the rest of you guys, I know this is a little complex, but are you able to follow till now? Any questions? A quick yes, no, so that no things are clear. Okay, Abhishek, ask your question. Okay, let me just give a quick overview. What we did was we created the blockchain on blue, then we connected green, and then I showed you how to generate new addresses. So what we are trying to do is, first step, we created a blockchain, second, we connected to it, and now we are creating addresses. So addresses can belong to people. Preeti's addresses, if a node is stopped and started, some other time, will it have a new address? No, Preeti, the address will not change. That address remains. Yeah, a session is being recorded, don't worry about it. It's pretty complex, so you'll definitely be able to look at it again. All clear? Now let's take this address and grant it some permissions, right? Okay. So when we want to grant permissions to an address, we can do that here. So what is it that the address can or cannot do? Is that clear? So the moment we did that, so we ran a command, grant this address, send and receive permission. And the moment we ran it, it gave us a transaction ID. If the transaction ID is not generated, that means that command has not run successfully on the blockchain. Is that part clear? Shinam, could you just type in the chat the option for reading the permissions of a particular address? The address refers to, I'll answer your question. So each node has an address, but after that we can go into the node and create unlimited addresses. So let's take an example that this green node belongs to a bank and that bank is part of my blockchain. Now, whenever a customer of that bank is given an address, that address will keep generated on the green one and you can generate hundreds of or thousands or millions of addresses. For each customer, the bank can generate a new address. The node will have only one fixed address. Where will the private key be stored in the server node? So you can't see that. You will not be able to access that. You can just run commands and that particular private key will be used to run the command, but you won't be able to recover that. Shiram, could you quickly type that in and then I can move to the next step? Any other questions? Is it all clear? A quick yes, no would help. Okay, let me take Nitin's question. So only that node representing the bank is attached to the blockchain, but there can be multiple. Yes, of course, there can be multiple. So, but we have to create users on the nodes. So in fact, if any of you guys would like to follow right now, have any of you created your own VM virtual machine on which you can create a node right now? We can do a live demo. That'll be awesome. Does anyone have that with them right now? Yeah, Shinam, get info is for the asset. I'm just saying for seeing permissions of an address. Would anyone like to connect to my blockchain? A quick yes, no. Okay, Jatin, if you would like to connect, can you? Okay, great. So the initial set of commands, which is there on the multi-chain website, Shinam, can you just put the URL? So those who want to follow, they'll be able to do it. These are the commands that you guys will run. Okay, so you can just see it here, or Shinam, you can just share the URL quickly. Then what you guys will do is here, the IP address that you're going to put is going to be the virtual machine you've created on DigitalOcean, like I taught you last time. Then run all these commands till here. Once you reach this, then it will give you that, okay, ask for permission to connect, and that you can paste into the chat here. So I'm going to give you guys a minute or two. I'll wait for some of you to paste that in. Yeah. Yeah, Shino, but this is, it's quite messed up. Can you just put the URL? Okay, I'll put the URL. Give me 1 second. I'll put the URL here. So you guys can copy the commands from this URL. So this is here on the multi-chain side. You need to just follow the till where I've told you. So I'm okay, great. Someone's already done that. No, but Abhishek, in your case, Have you created a blockchain called Abhishek? No, that won't work. See, because you have to connect to my blockchain. So that is why I said only run the steps till do this. Okay. You do not create your own. So what you have done is you have run this command till here, multi-chain util create, and then you said Abhishek. So that has created a new blockchain for you. I want you to log into my blockchain. So see the commands here on the screen, and this is the last command that you will run. So Jatin, I'm presuming you've just done that. So okay. Now let's see if we can connect Jatin. Sorry, hold on. So now let's give. Yeah, awesome. So Jatin, your node is now connected to the blockchain. Can you see this? This transaction ID has been generated, which means your address, which is this one, now has connect, send, and receive permissions. So Jatin, what I want you to do is now you could run a get info, and you should be able to get information about the blockchain that you are connected to. So this kind of information, even you should be able to get, and it should show you that the chain name is Rojas. So Jatin, can you do that? And paste back what you can see. Awesome. If there's anybody else who has successfully done it, just paste the command here, and then I'll connect you guys also. Please show the commands again. Sure. So here, these are the commands. So this is what you need to run. The first few lines are there on the multi-chain page. I've shared the URL, and this one I've pasted into the chat button here, or you can just look at it and copy it also. Let me know if there's anything else. I'll give you guys a few minutes, so don't worry about it. Take your time. Someone else has done that. Okay, Preeti has also done it. So let me just quickly give her permission. Abhishek, yes, you will have to create a new blockchain. I mean, you know, to do it all over again. But you can use the same VM if you want. So Preeti, in your case also, the transaction ID is generated, which means you are also now connected. So now go and run get info. Jatin, are you able to see it? Awesome. So Jatin can see that he is connected, and chain name is Rojas. So I hope the rest of you who are not doing the practicals are able to follow what's happening. Jatin, in your case, obviously you can see what all has happened, and you can see that you have connected to the blockchain. Now, if we go to the multi-chain API page, which I'm going to share with all of you. So Jatin and Preeti, especially the two of you, can start. You can click on this link, see all the commands here, and let's see what all we okay, let's have a look at. Okay. So when I did a command called list permissions, okay, all the addresses that are there on our blockchain. So I did list permissions. All the addresses are here, and you can see the addresses here and the permissions are given. So this one is connect. This one is, so it shows you send. So all the permissions are shown one by one. So if you notice this address, okay, is the same as the next one, same as the next one, but it's showing you one by one the permission that this address has connect, send, receive. So one by one, it will list all the permissions given to all the addresses on our blockchain. So that is why it is showing you so many. We don't have that many addresses, but because each address can have multiple permissions, the same thing will show multiple times. So even this address shows 3 times because it's got connect, send, receive. Is it clear? Any questions? Abhishek says somehow I'm not able to paste the command. Abhishek, are you using Mac or Windows? Windows, okay. Windows, there is some other way to do a copy paste. I don't remember. I think you have to right click or something. But in Mac, it's very easy. There's no problem. So far, any issues? Is it all clear? Let me know if you guys have any. Any questions? Just put them. Okay. I got that using commands, we find the list of connected addresses. I want to know if there is a UI. So, Gagan, that's a good question. See, blockchains don't have a UI. Blockchains run like this, but then we can always connect it to a front-end application. So that is something that, I mean, we can do. So even multi-chain has provided us with their own demo UI. You can use that or you can create your own. But then those are things you're going to learn in future, right? So as of right now, I want you guys to only get comfortable with the command line. Okay, what is the command to delete the blockchain? Yeah, that's a good question. What is the command to delete the blockchain? I don't remember it offhand. Can any node list all the addresses? Jatin, yes, you can. So the rest of you can also do that. What you can do is on your nodes, just run this command called list permissions. Okay. Run that and you'll be able to see all the addresses. Let me know when you guys have done. Tushar has a problem, Shinam, maybe if you can try to solve it. The rest of you who've connected, Preeti and I think Abhishek, no. Who else has got that? Jatin. So you can run list permissions. Let me know if that works. Got it, working list permissions, great. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create an asset. Okay, so the rest of you can maybe take a pause and focus on the screen. So when we create an asset, right, I told you this is the whole thing. So I am going to issue from this address, which I have just pasted starting with 18, and I'm going to issue it to 18. So let me now copy this entire thing and I hope it works. Okay. Awesome. So can you see that we have now got a transaction ID, which means an asset called WUSD has now been created. So now what we'll do is I'll show you some of the commands that we can do. So we can get asset info. So let me show you how to run it. So the moment I did that, can you see on my screen, it has now listed all the details of this asset. And now what I want Jatin and Preeti to do is on your own system, please go and run this command, get asset info space WUSD, right? So even if I go to this green one and run the command, it runs it. So even though we created that asset on the blue, on the seed node, all the nodes connected will also show you full details of the asset because blockchains are transparent. Once we create an asset, all the nodes can see it. It doesn't matter where it was created. Is that clear? So Preeti, I'm okay, great. So Preeti and Jatin also got it, and the green here is where they would have seen it. Now let's see what is the information. So it says that, okay, the name is WUSD. Now, this is a very important thing. I told you that everything we do on the blockchain generates a transaction ID. So when we created this new asset, the transaction ID is this. And forever, this will be noted down in the logs. Then the blockchain generates an asset reference number. So whenever you're calling an asset, you can either use this word, the name, or you can use this reference ID. Then the multiples are of 100, minimum 0.01, open true, which means we can create. And then there are some restrictions which we have created. And then it shows us some of the details that it is issued by this bank, type is stablecoin. Here we can write whatever we want. This is not a blockchain command. This is just general textual or data information. And this is the quantity. Now, do you notice there is a difference between the quantity and the raw? Because we said that our token can go up to 2 digits, it is actually created like this, but displayed to us with 2 less zeros because this is cents and this is dollars. So in Bitcoin's case, it has about, I think, 10 digits. In our case, this is only 2. In Bitcoin's case, you would see 10 extra digits also showing up. I hope that's clear. Are Preeti and Jatin connected to blue or green? So they're connected to blue. Everybody connects to blue initially for permission. After that, you're connected to each other. Even if blue goes down, the chain will keep running. Don't worry about that. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me know if you guys have any queries. I'm going to now send some assets, right? So I'll show you the command. Hold on. So there is a command called send asset, right? So we are going to now run that command. So we will send asset, sorry, WUSD, and can Preeti or Jatin just put their address here? Okay, so Jatin's address is here. Let me send him 50. Okay, hold on. No, that seems to be an invalid address. Address asset quantity. Sorry, my mistake. I have to put the address first, then I send you 75. So a transaction ID has been generated, which means $75 have been transferred to Jatin. So Jatin, can you now confirm? I will show you how to see that also. Now let's go to see the, hold on. Just give me a second. So now let's see his balance. Get address balances. Okay, just give me a second. Shinu, could you just give me the exact command? I seem to have forgotten it. Shinu, can you just locate that? Otherwise my screen will get too complicated. The rest of you so far, are you understanding things? Is it all clear? Yeah, get address balances I ran that, but it's not showing me the balance. Do I have to? Yeah, so is there anything wrong in what I'm running here? Do I have to give it with double quotes? I seem to have forgotten that. Nope. Can you just figure out what the correct command for that is? So now if we look at asset, does anybody else want the assets? Just give me your address and I'll send you also some of the assets. Okay, awesome. So Jatin, you're able to see that? Hold on. Okay, I'm no clue why it's not showing up on my screen. Okay, sorry. So got it. So Jatin, you are able to see the address balances here. And I will do one thing. I will show, hold on. Let me show you my balances. Hold on. Here. So now it shows me my balance. So if you notice here where it was 000, but it's now 850 because we've given away $150. So in two different transactions of $75, we have moved some assets to Jatin. So when Jatin goes to his system and he does it, he is able to recall the balances. Is there anybody else who's connected and you can also do the practical in real time? Yeah, so Gagan, I'll explain to you why we were not able to see it. So when we create an address on another blockchain, we need to actually import that address in here. And then only we will be able to pull balances for it. There's so many different commands that we keep forgetting. Let me show you wallet transactions, right? So, Shirav, can you identify some more interesting ones that we can demo? Yeah, so I want, maybe we could do something like showing all the transactions of that asset. Can you quickly paste the command for that? So for WUSD, if I want to show all the transactions that have happened, can you just share the command for that? And the rest of you, if you are able to set up your own nodes, just quickly send me that address in the chat and I'll give you guys permission to connect to my blockchain. Anyone has any questions in the meanwhile? A quick yes, no? I hope you guys are able to see. Okay, awesome. Currently, multi-chain does not support POS. Can you name any enterprise level POS blockchain which we can use? Okay, so multi-chain is based on the Bitcoin core. That's the reason it does not support proof of stake. So what I would recommend is directly use Ethereum. So later in the next session, Shinam is going to be teaching you guys about how to use various Ethereum-based tools. You can set up your own blockchain. And if you remember right in the beginning, I shared an article with you guys about Developer's Guide to Ethereum. In that, I've listed the softwares that you can use. So there is one called Ganache, G-A-N-A-C-H-E, that can be used to set up your own Ethereum, and very, very easily you can see all the all the different options. But of course, remember that Ethereum is still not on proof of stake. So give it a few more days for that. Anupama says, can you please show from where is the node address copied so that you can grant okay, I didn't understand your question, Anupama. Shinam, what exactly is that? Get address transaction. After that, what do I have to do? Do I have to put that address? So just give me something which shows all the transactions in one shot. Now I want all of you also to refer to this link, which I'm putting in the chat here. So this will show you all the different options of multi-chain, and they are divided into, you can divide them category wise. So these are the general utilities, we saw it last time. Wallet addresses, working with non-wallet addresses, so where we are creating new key pairs and other things. Permission management. So you realize that we gave certain permissions. Now in multi-chain, there are various kinds of permissions. Let me just show you all of them. Right? A second. Okay, so an address can have up to 8 permissions. So the connect is the simplest one. That connects, allows you to connect to other nodes and see the blockchain basic information. The send means you can send money or funds. Receive means you can receive. Issue is very important. Issue means you can create your own assets. So in fact, later when Jatin and all, if you try, right now if you try issuing an asset, you will not be able to do it because I'm not giving you that permission. So I actually need to run a command called grant, give you issue permission, only then you can create your own assets. Stream is a way in which you can store data, so it's called a data stream. Mining is to create blocks, so that means you will be a miner, part of the blockchain, validating blocks. Again, that's a permission I need to give you. Activate means you can change these 3 permissions for others, connect, send, receive. And admin means you can change all permissions for everyone. So you can give anyone mine, issue, activate, all kinds of permissions. So these are the 8 permissions supported by multi-chain. By default, we are giving 3, connect, send, receive, but you can give as many as you want. Preeti has given me an address. Let me run it. Okay. Great. So Preeti, this new node that you have set up, I have given it permission. Anybody else? Anybody else who set up their own node, I can give you permissions to connect. So Preeti, you can try all the commands that we've been speaking about. These are the 8 permissions. Any questions on these 8 permissions? Does anyone have any questions on these permissions? Quick yes, no would help. Did everyone understand the concept of permissions? A quick yes, no if you've understood. Okay, awesome. Great. Thanks so much. Abhishek, you've given me an IP address. I don't need that IP address. I only need your multi-chain address. So I'm guessing that's your IP address of the server that you've set up. You need to follow those first few lines. Have you run these lines? These ones? So the IP address you've sent me, you probably need to enter it here, I'm guessing, and then you need to run all these commands. Once you run those commands, it will give you that line which will have your blockchain address. Send that to me. Then I'll be able to give you more permissions. Anything else? Any other questions? Let me know. Okay, in the meanwhile, while you guys are setting it up, I'm going back here. So permission management, we've seen this is how we can grant them. We can also revoke. So there is an option called revoke. So I can revoke permissions. Asset management means we're getting information about the asset. We already did it for WUSD. And now multi-chain also supports NFTs. So we call those as tokens. So asset is a regular fungible token and token here is an NFT. So we can do that. We've seen the whole issue. All the commands are here. You guys can all try them out later. Okay. Then we can see get multi-balances here. So here it's showing me that what balances some addresses have. That information is shown to me here. Then what else can I show you guys? Send I've already shown you. There are multiple options. So depending upon an advanced option that you want to run, there are different versions. So you can do a send or a send asset or a send asset from or send from. And for each of these, there's information here. Now, this is another very interesting one, which is called send with data. So send with data is like send, but you can send some additional metadata or information. By the way, did you guys happen to see my post today about sending emails using Ethereum addresses? If not, just go on Instagram and check it out. So similarly, we can also send data along with transactions. So we can use send with data in that case. Samir has also set it up. Give me a second. Grant. Okay, just a sec. No, you. Yeah. I made a mistake in copying. Yeah, so Samir, even you are connected. Gagan, yes, you go to LinkedIn and there we have something called the blockchain developer course as a group. I posted it there also. So I always post in both places. Multi-chain commands, yes, I'll share the URL with you again. These are the commands. What else can I show you guys? I think for today, it's more or less, I'm just going through it to see if there's anything else. I think for today, this is more or less enough. If I stop the node, then again, do I need permission to connect? No, Preeti, you don't, because your address doesn't change. Once you've got that permission, you can keep using it. However, if I have removed your permission, then you won't be able to connect. On that, there's no problem. Yeah, I think this is enough as far as commands are concerned. Anybody else who's connected, just put the data here. Based on my address, I'll be able to connect. That's correct. So Preeti, I hope that's clear. Nitin says to set up a node on DigitalOcean, do we need to do some setup payment? Okay, the rest of you, anyone who's used DigitalOcean, did you need to make any payment or did you get that $100 fee credit? Has anyone else used DigitalOcean to set it up? Oh, okay, you had to make some payment, Abhishek. Oh, okay. So, okay, Samir, you had to enter your credit card, but did you have to make any payment or did you get some free credits? Okay, you had to make a payment. They need credit card and it takes a base fee. Oh, okay. So yeah, there is some fee. Otherwise, maybe you guys can use some other cloud if you have free access, or you can even use your laptop. Okay, Gagan, I'm going to grant you permission. Hold on. Okay, Gagan, you also got permission. Just remember when you're doing it on your own blockchain, when someone sends it to you, they send it to you with this multi-chain CLI ROAS. That part you can ignore and you can directly go from grant till the end. Okay, Preeti set it up on her laptop. Preeti, what laptop is it? Windows, Linux, or Mac? They give $100 credit for 60 days after saving your credit card. Oh, okay. Anupama, that's cool. Preeti says Windows. Okay, so she's not had a problem running it on Windows. Jatin is using AWS. So like I said, it doesn't matter what service you use, what laptop you use, as long as it is one of those supported ones, which Multichain gives you in the list. Here, you can see the list here. It supports Linux 64-bit, Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Red Hat. It supports Windows 64-bit, Mac 64-bit. So I'm sending you the URL for that. As long as you have these operating systems, it doesn't matter. Share the API command link. Yeah, that's this one only. I shared it. I'll share it again. Okay. Yeah. I put that URL again. So it's got like, I don't know, 50 or 100 commands. You can try as many of them. The more you try, the better it is. So feel free to try all of them. Any other questions? Can I see the mini statement kind of thing? Gagan, yes, you can. So here you can run this get multi balances. So if you run this on your system, you will be able to see, or send me your address. I'll send you some tokens. Okay, whoever wants assets, just send me your address. Okay. What? For me? Yes. Yeah. So I've sent you $50. Anybody else? Yeah, you can run list addresses. If you want to see how to get your own address, you can run list addresses and you can see here, is mine is true. So if it shows that is mine true, that means that is your address. If it shows addresses where is mine is not true, that means those are other people's addresses and not your own. So it has the private key of these, or you've created around this, so you can just do that. So if you run list addresses on your system, you will get your addresses and then send me your address here and I'll send you some. Of course, they're not real dollars, just play dollars. Let me know if there are any other questions you guys have. Okay, I'm presuming it's all clear. All of you are able to run it. Now, what I want you guys to do as homework, Preeti says she can see it reflecting. Awesome. So what I want you guys to do now as homework, please set up chains, try out all this. And secondly, all of you are connected to each other on the LinkedIn group that I've created for you, as well as some of you have created a new Telegram group. So please do it together, connect with each other, set up nodes, and then try out all the different API commands. Yeah. Anupama says how to set up a node without a cloud server. Anupama, you could use your laptop for it. So Windows, Mac and Linux laptops, all three would do. So Preeti and the others, those who have done it successfully today, if you can help the others, that'll be awesome. The rest of you guys, you can get in touch with Preeti and Jatin and some of the others. If you guys want to share your WhatsApp numbers here, you can do that. Or if you're not comfortable sharing it, you all can connect on the LinkedIn group for blockchain developer course, or you can connect on the Telegram group, whatever. Yeah, but please do connect with each other. Jatin, thanks so much. And please help each other out. And the next lecture is going to be only Q&A, right? Let me just quickly first wrap it up. So in the next session, so now go through this video, and I'm going to put up another video which is for atomic exchange, which is one of the most important features of a blockchain. So go through that video also, and the next lecture will only be a Q&A on all the things that we have covered so far. So please go, make your teams, help each other out, and do your practicals. So I'll see you guys next Monday at the same time. And those who want to attend the Hindi one, you can connect on that channel in about 8 minutes. At 8 o'clock we'll start. See you guys. Bye-bye.